Mysterious World is written and read by me, Albert Jack.
We all love a good mystery, don't we? And by all, I mean each and every one of us are or will be captivated at one time or another by a decent real-life mystery, either one of the world-famous ones or something on a much more local scale. And so, after writing my last book on urban legends and inspired by the legend of the Beast of Bodmin Moor, which is described in that book, I started looking at some of the other famous mysteries, the ones that continue to fascinate us. And the story of the Beast of Bodmin Moor is an example of an urban legend which could be properly researched as a genuine mystery, and the same could be said for various other topics covered in that book. There is clearly a crossover between urban legend and full-scale mystery. Mysteries are fact-based, of course, and tend to be longer and more complicated. Indeed, some, such as the Bermuda Triangle, UFOs, crop circles, or the Loch Ness Monster, provide easily enough material for a whole series of books. But writing a book on just one of these would have been relatively easy. The challenge came from researching lots and lots of them and then condensing them down in a way that I know you, the reader who continues to pay my wages, enjoy reading. And that is short, sharp, informative sections you can read on the train, bus queue, or while waiting to pick the kids up after you arrive at school and find them in detention. In other words, the challenge was to explain the mystery in a way that you can enjoy and absorb in about 10 minutes flat. Inevitably, some of the information will be missing, for which I apologize in advance. But the missing information isn't critical to the basic story. The core details of the mystery in question should all be there. In some cases, such as the sections on the Bermuda Triangle, Bigfoot and crop circles, there are literally thousands of examples that I could have used, of course, but in each case I've kept them down just to a handful. Another challenge has been which mysteries to select out of the scores of famous stories that exist. I've tried to be as diverse as possible, including mysterious disappearances, such as the lighthouse keepers of Eilean Moor or the crew of the Mary Celeste, or deaths like Marilyn Monroe's or Robert Maxwell, or famous crimes like the St. Valentine's Day Massacre or D.B. Cooper jumping off a jet with 200 grand in cash. Science is covered. We have UFOs and USOs. Science fact or science fiction. History, the tale of the lost dolphin. The arts and the Mona Lisa and the strange death of Edgar Allan Poe, ranging from the obscure, the Dover Demon, to the world-famous like the disappearance of Glenn Miller. Where did he go? For example, did you know that sometimes it rains frogs or fish, or that the Mary Celeste was nowhere near the Bermuda Triangle despite several claims to the contrary? And that brings me to an important point. Given that I'm a fan of the unknown and the unexplained, I've not set out to be a mystery buster in this volume. Instead, I just wanted to tell the story, provide some little-known detail, and then offer some rational explanation wherever I could. I wanted to provoke a bit of thought and conversation and leave you, the reader, to decide the answer for yourselves. Does the story remain a mystery in your view, or have you now managed to piece together a theory of your own? Although, to be fair, I must admit there are some cases where I just couldn't resist presenting my own ideas and giving full rein to my scepticism. But don't let that stop you from enjoying yourselves. But the truth is, the mind can play tricks on us. We know this is the case. That's how we can enjoy marvelling at an optical illusion or a magician's skillful sleight of hand. There are other occasions, however, when we don't or won't acknowledge that we have been deceived. We believe we can see something, and even though we know it doesn't actually exist, we can still see it, because we want to. Perhaps that is why there are still so many sightings of the Loch Ness Monster. A lump of wood floating innocently on the surface of Loch Ness is immediately classed as a sighting, whilst the very same lump of wood goes unnoticed when tossed into a less famous loch nearby. Some things remain mysterious, of course, such as unsolved crimes and disappearances. For example, the fate of the crew of the Mary Celeste remains a mystery to this day, and we'll be covering that. Or ghostly goings-on. No one has come up with a satisfactory explanation for the frightening disturbances that took place in the Chase Vault. Where there is insufficient evidence, a mystery will surely arise, but nonetheless we like to blind ourselves to this sometimes, preferring the reason to be strange and otherworldly rather than clear and matter-of-fact. The crew of the Mary Celeste didn't abandon ship because it was about to sink or catch fire, but because a giant squid snatched them up in its writhing tentacles, or a passing UFO swooped them off to another planet. That's what we want it to be. And why should there always be a boring, down-to-earth answer for everything? A little bit of mystery makes life much less dreary and far more exciting. As I wrote this series, I had several imaginary readers sitting at my shoulder. The first one was you, of course, who above all want to be entertained. The rest were representatives from the groups of people who passionately believe in a particular topic, whether it be Bigfoot hunters or UFOs or the Loch Ness Monster. While our views will invariably differ, I've tried to be as sensitive as possible. Well, I have tried. I do love a good mystery as much as the next person, but a healthy dose
Sample complete. Ready to continue?